Okay, good evening, everyone. Today we're going to present you our course for career development. My name is Danail Kanchev, and together with our colleagues here, we will try to help you to understand better our opinions about the career development from our experience and what we know on our market. So, as you probably know, this is part of a bigger course, and today we are going to focus on career development. Before that, we had a course for product management, and we also reviewed the freelancing ecosystem globally. I will skip this part because actually we're doing this for several times, so actually we don't need to pass through this timing. If you have questions, please raise them using the Zoom software. So our colleagues will review the questions, and later we'll have a Q&A session in which you will try to answer all your questions. So feel free and raise your questions. Now back to me. I'm working in this domain of career advising since 2006, and I have different positions in which I actively advise people in terms of job applications, and internally in-house in companies. I'm advising employees for their career path. I have been working for different companies like Adecco, Hewlett-Packard, IBM, Computer Science Corporation, and many others. I have been people manager of several HR teams. Most of the teams are smaller, but in some cases I've managed more than 15 people in a team. And some of the projects have been international, including people from not only from Bulgaria, but also Romania, Ukraine, Russia, Albania, Macedonia, and other countries. I'm certified project management professional, and also I have a certification in HR, which is called Global Professional in Human Resources. It's an American certification. Both of them actually are American certifications. And in general, I could say that I have more than 15 years of experience in multinational environments, and I think this is the best value that I can bring today to this course. Now, the content of this course was prepared in order to help you answer some of the questions that that actually you shared with us. So some of the questions are coming directly from you. Questions related to career development, like how to choose area of specialization, how to overcome anxiety when I'm looking for a job, what is the realistic expectation about yourself when you're applying for a job or you're looking freelance project. Also, we're going to talk about learning and continuous self-development and networking in terms of career development. Also, they have several questions raised during the courses related to how to find customers, and when we start work or when we're looking for work, what are the main barriers? And later, when we have the project and we already delivered the project, how to manage the payments and taxes. So these are part of the questions that we're going to cover today. And again, if you have any other questions, please feel free to add them into as a comment, as a question in the Zoom interface, and we'll answer to the questions later. So going further, now the first question, how to choose area of specialization? That's question that is in the base of the career development. So that's the first question really which we need to answer ourselves before we are choosing our career path. And in this case, I will share with you a methodology which is based on the Japanese concept called Ikigai. Ikigai means a reason for being. And it is coming as a concept from one of the islands in Japan. And this island is famous with the long-living people there. I mean, the average, not the average, but the most of the people live more than 90 years. So actually, they're really a big concentration of long-living people. And there are a lot of researchers globally which visit this island and try to find answers why these people are living so long. And one of the answers was related to their way of living and their way of understanding, their way of working as well. So in this concept, you need to answer 4 questions. And the first question is what you are good at. So actually, you are answering the question about your best skills. What are your best skills? The second question is related to what you love. It is related actually to, the activities that are making you happy when you do them. The third question is about what the world needs. So in this question, we should answer actually what we are doing that is needed by the world. And the fourth and last question is what you can get paid for. And actually we are answering what is the skill, what is the activity that we can provide and we can get paid. And Ikigai is the balance between these 4 questions. So actually, in order to be, to follow this concept, we need to find a balance between the profession, so what we are skillful in, the passion, what we love to do, the mission, what we can do and it's needed by the world, and vocation, what gives us some money. And of course, it's really difficult to find this perfect balance between all these 4 questions. And actually, probably, I don't know people that are in this perfect balance. But in Eastern philosophies, it's important to keep the path, to have a target and to walk into this target, to have a path of development. So that's why it's important also always when we talk about development, career development, to think about the path, to think what we want to achieve at one point. So, and if we put this in practice, a lot of people, they do what they want, what they love to do. But in most of the cases, this is not what the people want to pay for. I'll give example, and I met in my career, I mean, I have more than 1,000 interviews in my career, and I met a lot of people, for example, let's say, from the IT domain, let's say designers. They love to draw, they love to make concepts, but but for example, in order to the world doesn't need only a nice drawing. The world wants this to be digitalized in a let's say using Photoshop or some other platform. And if you're not ready to develop this skill as well, actually, because you hate, for example, you hate the software and you don't develop this part, then you'll not be able to provide to the world what you're loving. So you might love drawing, but if you don't learn to digitalize it, it will be impossible to achieve the mission of selling this to the world. So another example, I have interviewed a lot of HR people that are dealing with human resources. And almost all HRs, what they love is to train people. They don't like to do the payroll. They don't like to recruit people. They love to train people. I don't know why it's that, but on our market, I would say that 80% of the HR people, they want to train people, not payroll, not recruitment. But the world needs recruitment and payroll. If you open a local job portal, you'll see that 80% of the jobs are requiring skills in payroll and in recruitment. And this is another example why actually it's important that we consider all these 4 questions and answering to these questions and trying to find a balance. Yes, we might love something, but we need to move ourselves into something else that we might love, but it's also sellable. I mean, something that we can sell to the world. Now, next question, actually, I'm still on this question, how to choose area of specialization. So it's relatively easy to answer to the question what you are good at. So, you know, from experience that you're good in drawing or you're good in coding, or that's something that it's easily understood by the person. But also we know what we love. That's also easy to understand. But how to find out what the world needs? Now, for one of the approaches is to research in different markets. So you go to the market and you actually research on the market, what is the demand for the job. In this particular example, I'm showing you a graph that represents data from Upwork. Probably you mentioned Upwork in several times in the previous course when we spoke about freelance platforms. So Upwork is one of the freelance platforms. And in Upwork, you can see which are the open jobs currently. And actually, you might easily get an understanding, an idea for what is open and what is needed now. And in this particular example, if we focus on IT jobs, let's say, we can see that actually the skills that are in most of the cases needed in these open positions, in these open jobs, are related to PHP. On the second place, we can see that Python is the second needed skill. And also there are skills like UX skills, mobile skills, Android development, iOS development, JavaScript like Node.js. These are most wanted skills, let's say. You also could see that some of the skills are less wanted, like, for example, C# or C++ or QA. Now, of course, this is a particular example. If you're looking for a job, not a freelance job, but just a career in a company, then probably it's better to open a local job portal, for example, and then you can have a similar statistics there and do a similar research there and find out what is actually needed. So this is one of the approaches, I would say the most successful one, to see in a quantitative way what's needed on the market. And you can answer to the question number 3, what the world needs. Now, how to answer the other question, what you can get paid for. So if we assume that we know something about what is needed, then we can use another source to get to how these professions, these skills are paid on the market. The approach is similar, it's research. So you open something big enough with big enough community of people and users. In this particular example, I'm showing you data from PayScale. It's a platform that mainly is used in the United States, but actually the proportions here, I see the same proportions on our market as well. Of course, the levels are different because of local circumstances, but the proportions between the different professions are similar. So in this particular example, you can see that actually the most paid profession, that's the one of the senior software engineer. And of course, you have differences if it's PHP, C++, or C# or some other flavor, but at the end, so the main point here is to show you that actually, if you compare a software engineer to, for example, a network engineer, you see almost double of difference. So, and this could give you an answer to the question, what you can get paid for. So in this example, actually, if you're, let's say, good in Python, so it's something that the world needs, obviously, as a freelancer. So the world needs freelancers in Python. And then you can see if you become a senior software engineer, then actually you answer to the question. So if you are good in Python or become good in Python, if you start loving or already love coding in Python, and you know already that it's something that it's needed at least on this particular freelance market, and you know that it's well paid compared to other professions, then you have your ikigai. Then you're probably on the right path to your career development. Of course, this could be applied to everything, and everything needs to be researched very well by yourself. You shouldn't expect that an expert or someone will give you an absolute answer on that. It's not possible. Everything depends on your skills, on what you love, on the market where you want to work, and how the market is paying for this. So it's really, really specific. Now, again, if you have questions on this part, please feel free and add them in the Q&A session. Now, I will move to the next question. And the next question is how to overcome anxiety about not being able to find a job. Now, we're talking about, let's say, mostly about the situation when you are applying for a job in a company, when you want a career, a corporate career, let's say, in a small company or a big company, but it's not, let's say, we are focusing now not on the freelance searching for job, but more on the job application for a company. Now, when you apply for a job, you're entering in a process which is usually called recruitment process. So this recruitment process starts with before your application. It starts actually with the needs of the company. So the need of the company is the initial thing, and then then the company starts advertise that they're looking for people. And then in this case, you enter in the process by applying. And then the process continue with some interview stages, with some pre-screening. And then there is, you might have technical interviews or some other rounds. And then you have like a offer stage. And at the end, you get the offer, you approve or disapprove of offer, and you get the job. So this is a process. This is the recruitment process. This process is pretty much similar to another process, which is probably most of you know from personal experience, which is the sales process. So the sales process where somebody needs something again, and the salesperson is trying to sell a product, a service, or something to someone that is purchasing. Now, because sales process is really everywhere, it's also in recruitment process, and we do see similarities between the sales process and the recruitment process. In the sales process, when you try to sell something, some product, for example, it's a must. It's something that you need to start. You start with initiating contacts. So you need to contact as many people as you can. Then if some people respond to your contact, then you have a lead. Then you could make a demo to this person. Then you can have proposal, and then they're evaluating your proposal. And if they accept your offer, then you have a closing, and you have a deal. You have a sales deal, and it will be done and sold. So, but if you, and it's a law in the sales process that if you have as many, if you open and start initiate many contacts, the chance of closing successfully the deal is much bigger. So as many contacts you have, as bigger the chance is to have a successful deal. The same principle applies for recruitment. So in the recruitment, as many applications you do, as bigger is the chance to get an offer. So why I'm saying all this? Because people are anxious about not being able to find a job. And the main reason for that is they don't receive an answer about the process. So imagine you apply for one job today and you start waiting for answer, and you start hope that actually someone will call you and invite you for an interview, and this hope actually turns to frustration when it doesn't happen, and this frustration is leading to anxiety that we're talking about. Now, in order to remove the anxiety, you need to remove this this frustration. In order to remove this frustration, you need to increase the chance of receiving the answer in the process of recruitment. And in order to receive a better chance for your applications, you need to increase the number of the applications. So one of the main ways to remove anxiety is to apply more. Now, in general, from all these recruitment processes that I had in my career, I would say that actually the recommendation that I could give to someone that is start looking and don't have enough experience in looking for a job is to be active. And be active means exactly this. Apply to more than one position. There is one more reason behind this. If you apply just to one position and you're so confident that actually you'll get this position in let's say 2 weeks, you say, "Oh, I'm the best one. They will definitely hire me." And you apply for this position, and you don't apply for any others because you don't like the others. you're pretty much sure that you get this particular job. So what actually happens? Actually, yes, you might have the chance 1 to 1,000 in some case chance to get the job. Great. But if you don't get the job, actually you wait 1 week, nobody will call you. You wait another week, nobody will call you. You wait third week, fourth week, nobody will call you. And you're not going to apply in this 1 month. And then if you keep the same way of applying and you choose another job in another company and you apply only on this company in 1 month, and then the probability to lose another month is very big, because actually you lose one and then a second month jobless or having a job that you don't like. So when you want to change the career, when you start a career, apply, be active and apply in more than one position. Don't lose your time. You're smart enough to, when you have two offers, to get the better one. And that's one more reason why to apply to more than one. When you get to the stage of offers, it's the mastery is to get 2 offers, 3 offers in the same time. And then you'll be able to select the best for you. If you apply to one job, you're going to have, in the best case scenario, you're going to have only 1 job offer. But if you apply to more positions, you have 2, 3 in a week. And this will help you to choose the best for you, the best offer, the best pricing, the best conditions, the best working conditions, the best benefits, the best career development opportunities in this company. So be active. Now, the second advice that I could give you is be proactive. Now, what I mean here is that, you already, let's say that you applied to a position now, and then 1 week pass and nobody answers. But you can be proactive and go to the LinkedIn, for example, LinkedIn, and check this particular position. If it's published there, for example, you can see, in most of the cases, you can see who is the recruiter behind the position. Now, when you know who is the recruiter behind this position, you can send a contact to this person and ask about the status of your job application. Of course, you need to be very polite, but this will raise you the chance to get the job, actually. If you are too disturbing and you're asking this too many times, then actually you might lose the chance to get the job. So be polite is the third advice. So don't don't be disturbing to the people. Ask once. If you see the answer that is giving a clue that actually you should not continue asking in this way, don't be annoying and be polite. So these are my 3 advices for overcoming anxiety. Actually, it means overcoming anxiety means increasing the chances to get an answer, to get an offer. Again, if you have questions, please ask them in the Q&A session, and you can write them down now in using the Zoom tools. Now, the next question. Realistic expectation about yourself. In my career, I saw a lot of people that unfortunately don't have realistic expectation about themselves. And unfortunately, even if they have good profiles in LinkedIn or have good CVs, when it comes to realistic expectation and it's seen by the recruiter or by the client, it gives the impression of, on the other side, that actually there is something unreal, and actually it creates another barrier, and actually it destroys your chances to have a success with this particular person or this particular application. So the first thing is to find out where are you as skill set. So how good are you in something that you believe you are good in? Let's say PHP programming skills or development skills. So there are a lot of ways to find out if you are good enough in PHP. There are, for example, in Upwork, there are tests which you can use when you register to Upwork. Again, it's a freelance platform. We have talked about this in the previous sessions, but you can find this in other platforms. I'm just giving an example. But in Upwork, you have tests, assessments, where you can assess your let's say PHP skill. You pass through this assessment, and there are 1,000 people that have passed already, and you receive a benchmark score, which will give you an idea where are you in this PHP skill. Now, so assuming that now you know where are you in the PHP skill, then the second thing that you need to address is what you should place against as a payment for your skills. So how you're going to position yourself, on the market as a salary. This is the second question that you need to understand. And there are also tools, which you can use, like Best in Skill and some PayScale and Sour.com and many other platforms, which could give you an idea where should you place yourself as a salary expectation. Also, you can use other tools to find out where are you in skill and where are you as a salary. You can use other sources, like, for example, the recruiters. When you apply in a job, sometimes you can apply in an agency. Let's say in an agency, I'm talking now about recruitment agencies, but also in freelance agencies, you also, when you apply there, you can receive a good feedback from the recruiters. So basically what this recruiter feedback could be, it could be about your skills. They could give you a feedback about where are you compared to other applicants, and they could give you an idea about your salary expectation. If they're not realistic, these people could give you an idea about this. Also, when I mentioned before, you can be proactive, asking a recruiter in LinkedIn about this, and they also will give you some idea where are you, how you're positioned on the market. So actually, receiving feedback, it's really asking for feedback is really important, and receiving the feedback is something that is really needed in order to have good decisions about your career. Of course, if you're already in some kind of working environment, working for a company, you always can, and you are into the skill. I mean, you're using the skill and you want to assess, you can use the environment of the same company and, asking your manager, asking your colleagues, or getting somehow feedback about how good are you in what you're doing. Maybe it's not your main skill that you're applying today, but maybe it could be a secondary skill that you're developing. But these are the people that could give you an idea where are you. And again, it's really important to get understanding about where are you, because actually, if you skip this part, then you might sell yourself on LinkedIn with very good profile, or you might have excellent, well-designed CV and stuff like that. But if you don't have the realistic expectation, somewhere in the process, it's really, really possible that your application will be withdrawn because actually you don't sound trustful. Now I'm moving into the next question, which is about learning and continuous self-development. I mentioned about the feedback, and I will continue to talk about the feedback. the feedback that you're receiving about your current skill set, let's say. Here in this slide, I'm showing you example of something that you already used. I think all of you have been applicants in the program, and you passed to some of the program courses. And before being enrolled in the courses, you applied through a platform called Best in Skill. In Best in Skill, for example, you can see how you where are you positioned compared to other applicants. So in this particular case, you see the results of the applications of two users. One of them have more points for the application process than the other ones, and it's easily seen actually why the second one, the first one, has more points. The first one has more points because he has some CSS experience mentioned in the CV compared to the one on the second place, where he has only HTML associations. Now, of course, having this in the CV is not enough. This is in the beginning of the process. Later, it will be reviewed by a recruiter, and the recruiter will give another evaluation, and then you might have interview, you might have test, and all this will give another weight to your application. But this is the primary source where you can see some gaps that you can fill. So it might be the problem of the CV. It might be that you're not selling yourself well. I mean, that you know CSS, but you forgot to include it. So this might be the problem. But if it's not just because you forgot it, but it's because you don't know it, then you need to address this. Then there are, let's say, two main ways to address this gap. So in order to fill the gap of not knowing CSS, you might get training. And after achieving successfully the training, it's supposed that you have a better understanding of CSS. And then you can add this to your CV profile or whatever. Another way to close this gap is to enroll yourself to a project, or ask for a project where you can start developing this skill. This will help you also to develop such skill. I mean, this is mostly possible for people that are in the beginning of their careers, where they can have internship, let's say. And if they can choose from internships, they could choose an internship in which they can close particular gaps, like, for example, CSS. If you know that you're applying for an internship, and in this internship you'll be supporting a project where CSS is one of the technologies, so this is the course, this is the internship program for you. So that's the way you can close such gaps. But you should take on board that actually you need to develop continuously during entire career. Example, now I'm working with a lot of soft skill trainers. I mean, people that are training other people in soft skills like leadership or active listening skills or something else. So these kind of trainers, they're used to work directly with the people. They want to touch them. They want to be very, very close to them in a room, in a face-to-face interface, in physical environment. So they need to be in this. So and when this COVID situation happened, and a lot of businesses have been transformed to remote working. These kind of trainers had very big difficulties in providing their trainings to people, because actually everything became remote, and they had the difficulties to provide the training content. So they had to find out why they're having this issue, and the successful one of them find out that actually what they miss, what they have as a gap in their skill set, is tools to deliver training in remote environment, such as, let's say, Zoom. So a lot of trainers, they didn't have enough experience working with Zoom, and actually this was a gap for them, and this gap was very critical for the training delivery. And they starting learning from other people, from courses, from Udemy, from different sources, to learn about this new digital skill and to close this gap. And most of them, they did. And now, last year, I had very successful leadership trainings delivered through Zoom platform, which was a miracle, but actually it was happening because people were continuously self-developing themselves. So that's why it's really important. Actually, it's much more important in IT, where everything is so dynamic. So actually, if you don't update your skill set, let's say every year, every 6 months, you probably will be lost. Not lost, but actually you lose your market value very quickly. If you have questions in regards to these topics, please put them into the Q&A session and raise a question through the Zoom tools. I'm moving to the next question, which is related to networking. Now, when you say networking, is, let's say, like a very light definition of this is when you connect to some other people, let's say ways to connect to other people. But first, why you need to connect to other people. In our particular case, networking could help us to increase our knowledge. Also, it could help us to find other partners. And also, it can help us to find customers. Now, in order to find partners, for example, you can use social networking platforms like LinkedIn. Xing is more in Germany and Austria, Meetup, and other networking platforms. And the other big source of networking, that these are the conferences. Unfortunately, in the current situation with COVID, the conferences which are physically held are closed in most of the cases, and actually we have limited ways to do networking in conferences. But in the past, that was probably the most important and the most effective way to do the networking. Now, how actually networking is helping us to increase knowledge? Let's say we are in a conference, and the first thing is that usually conferences are topic specific. So you go to a IT conference which has a specific topic related to specific technology. So, for example, you can go a conference where it's only Java. So everything is related to Java. And if you want to develop your Java knowledge, your Java experience, your Java expertise, then you can sign up for such conference. How you increase the knowledge? You listen to the speakers, and in some of the cases, you can find something that is really new for you. Of course, you should not believe that actually in 1 hour of session in a conference, you have the light of all the knowledge in Java or something like this. No, you get just a reference. You get a reference, what is new, what is good or not. And then from this reference, you can start your research and finding what you need. That's how you find knowledge on conferences. That's how you network for knowledge. It's not that you're getting the full knowledge. It's just a reference to further knowledge, to further research and stuff like that. Now, partners. Why you need partners? I will talk about this later, but actually in most of the cases, let's say you want to be a freelancer, but let's say that you're very good in technical skills, you're excellent Java programmer, but you're not good at people. You don't have the skills to sell. But in a conference, let's say it's a great mixture of salespeople and technical people usually. So it's easy to understand who is the sales one and who is the technical one. I mean, the salespeople are obviously more extroverts and they're always talking to somebody else. They probably will come to you by themselves. But this is the way how to find, let's say, a sales partner who can help you. You can create some kind of startup and selling your technical skills to in a freelance platform, for example. So this is one of the ways. Of course, there are many others. And the third value of networking is to find customers. Of course, you can find customers again on a conference because actually these customers are coming there for solutions. They're looking for solutions and they're going to conferences because of solutions. Also, some of the salespeople could be converted to customers as well. So actually, it's a place where your particular skill targeted in the conference could find partners or customers or increase your knowledge. Yes, the conferences are very powerful, but again, in nowadays, we do have a problem because the conferences, most of the cases are closed or they're online, and the online way of doing the conference is limiting the networking for sure. But again, you can transfer the let's say online conference into the social networking and actually do your part of the networking in the social media. For example, you go to an online conference, you see a speaker, or there is a workshop and there is some kind of discussion, and you can see people that are also interested in the same targets, in the same topics, and actually later you can proactively contact these people into LinkedIn, Xing, or some other platforms and initiate the networking and the contact. So that's why it's really important that networking is really critical for a freelancer for sure, but also for people that want a successful career. If you stay in your job and just wait for the salary, yeah, that's what you're going to achieve, a pension in several years. But this will not help you to increase your chance for better career or for better future in the freelance way. Okay, I'll talk a little bit more about finding customers. Because it was a question that was raised too many times from you in different courses. Now, in the previous course, I think there was a lot of slides dedicated to freelance portals. Not only Upwork, not only Fiverr, but I think you have a list of so many freelance portals from previous courses. So actually, I will skip this part because actually it was mentioned already. Networking, yeah, I started to talk about networking. I will add a little bit more here on LinkedIn and Xing. Now, when we try to find customers through social media, what should be important? Of course, the first thing is that you need to assure your 24/7 presence there. So a lot of people think about LinkedIn like something like a database. Like I need something, I'll go to LinkedIn, I'll find it, and then I'll contact someone and they will solve my problem. It's not exactly like this. It's not only this. Again, you need to be proactive to achieve your goals. If you want to sell yourself on LinkedIn, you need to have a profile. You need to have a self-selling profile. If you just use it like a business card, like your name, your title, and that's it, it's not going to work. Or it will work, but really limited. If you want to be successful there, you need to have rich profile which will help search engines to find you through keywords that you're going to use there. A rich profile which will convince the reader of this profile that you're skillful in some of the skills that you're claiming. I mean, if you just list, I'm good in PHP, MySQL, C++, Java, JavaScript, and stuff like that, and you just bring one list there, it's not trustful. Yes, you'll be found on the Google search engine, for example, or in LinkedIn search. Recruiters will find you, clients will find you, but nobody will believe you that actually you do have the skill set behind. You need to add something more in your profile. You need to add portfolio, which will back up the claim that you know PHP, for example. You need to describe projects which will also support the claim that you know Java, for example. So you need to say, I have participated in a project with Java and this framework, that framework, we did that or that. It was between this year and that year. It's what, so people can see that it's a, let's say, long-term project. It's not 1 month project. So stuff like that. You need to be as much, how to say, in LinkedIn, for example, in LinkedIn profile, you should be more detailed, not like in the CV. In the CV, probably your CV should be something that that you are preparing for the particular application. It's not something that you just put and you publish somewhere. The CV is how you respond to a need in the employer. That's the current modern way of understanding the CV. It's not a printed version of your experience. It's not something that is constant. You're developing and you need to address all these developments and put them in the CV, but also you know yourself better, and that's the way you sell yourself. So but you might talk about yourself a lot, but it's your job to find out what from your experience should be added into the CV in order to correspond and answer the recruiter's question, is this person good for this particular job? So, for example, if you're applying for Java developer and you're applying with your general CV where you mention not only Java, but JavaScript and PHP and some other technologies because you know them, but you don't mention how good are you in this technology, of course, you just list them. So the recruiter will be really confused. They'll see, okay, it's a unicorn. Oh, I don't believe in unicorns. So actually this will not help you. But if you focus your CV on the requirements of the job and say, okay, I know PHP, I know Java, I know JavaScript, but because you're looking for a Java, these are my projects in Java. And you list your projects in Java. This will help you convince the recruiter and the reader that you're experienced in the particular skill set that is required for this job. So this is the way actually how you position yourself on the market through LinkedIn, through your CV, through your public CV or your private CV in a file. It's a process. It's not something that stays and you print it and create it once and you forget about this. Now, using networking, you could achieve something that is could help you finding customers. I will call this subcontracting locally or internationally. What do I mean here? So you're currently in your nice country, and you don't want to leave your country. You want to find a remote work through, let's say, freelancing, and you're trying. Probably you cannot find the best thing on your local market, but you want to, let's say, find a global client somewhere. But for some reasons, you cannot succeed in this as well. You're trying through freelance portals, you're trying to LinkedIn, but actually you cannot find the right client. What could help you is to, if you cannot find directly the client, then you can try to find someone else who is doing this, someone else who already have a contract with external client. Let's say some freelancer who is having a contact with the client and having more projects. And it's worthy to ask this person or this company if they could have a job for you, because actually it is possible that this freelancer, for example, is growing now. They have more demand for their skill set than actually they can provide, and then might need your help actually to provide satisfaction to their clients. So actually it could be a win-win situation where the other freelancer could find more resources in your face, and actually you on the other side, you also win from getting a client through this freelancer. But that's a good start, because actually you can add this to your CV or profile later, and now you get more trust to the future clients. You can do this locally, you can do this internationally. I mean, you can do this in a, let's say, in a local company, but you can target also international companies where you can be a subcontractor. Now, another way to find customers, if you remember the Ikigai thing. So if you know that you're good in something, you love doing this something, and you know that there is a market for this and people are ready to help to pay for this, then probably it's possible that you start your own company. And especially if what you can offer is something like international service, something that doesn't depend on localities, and something that could be scaled on a global level, that probably the best thing for you is to open such a company, because from your own country, you'll be able to reach global market and provide and, you know, be successful, be rich from something like this. And in general, actually, if you start from this Ikigai, actually, this will be finding the best balance, probably, because it will be something that you love, it will be something that you can, and it will be something that people needs and are paying for this. So starting a company is a good way to find customers as well. Again, if you have questions, please add them to the Q&A session using the Zoom tools. Now, I'm moving to the other topic. The other topic is about barriers. There are a lot of questions about, there are a lot of shared opinions that actually it's really difficult from Eastern European country or some other country to get to reach the Western markets. People feel that there is a, let's say, discrimination, or there is a kind of obstacle that is is uh, is not helping them to reach to a successful deal. And probably there is something like this. In this particular case, we will call this barrier. So yes, you might have different barriers when you try to, you have a, let's say, freelance profile, and you try to get a project from a freelance platform. You might have a problem with the trust. This is probably the most common barrier in such environment. What means in this case trust? It means that actually people, let's say, from Western markets don't trust people from more distant markets, because of cultural issues, because of time zone, because of just don't know the person behind. So there are many reasons for this. The other thing that creates a barrier, and it's a big barrier, and that's the language. And I'll give an example. And when I saw a lot of applications from Georgia to this program, and a lot of CVs have been written with, you know, from grammar point of view, they were not correct, because they so for example, because probably of your alphabet, you're not using upper cases frequently for some reasons. But in Western cultures, this could be understood as a grammar issue, like that you don't know where to put uppercase, for example, which probably is not the case, but these people will probably believe in this, that actually you have a grammar problem. So such a small thing of, you know, avoiding to use uppercase could create a barrier. So if you send a CV, which everything is, you know, small case, and then you probably will provide the wrong impression for yourself to the reader. In Western cultures, this could be considered also insulting, like that you actually don't care for this part of the communication. So uppercase, why not? Or why should that uppercase? But you know, people are different, cultures are different, so be aware that actually such things could create additional barriers, and you don't need these barriers. Now, I mentioned already about the time zone, but it's also a big problem when you try to sell your services, let's say online, remotely, to international environments, to international destinations. Time zone, I mean, in these remote projects, the client often requires to talk in real time to the people. So actually, if you were trying to get an American client, in most of the cases, when they are ready to talk with you, probably it will be during the night in your country, and this is a problem for you. I mean, you probably will be very tired or not willing to take the call, and probably you're right, but you know, time zone is a problem. Then distance, it's always a barrier, and it's obvious barrier. I mentioned about the trainers that are used to deliver their trainings without the distance, and how it's problematic in nowadays. Now, I mentioned several reasons, and now let's see how we can overcome these barriers. So how we can increase trust. let's say we have a profile in Upwork or some other freelance platform. One of the ways to increase and gain more trust is to get recommendations for your work. So imagine that you already get your first project, and you can ask for recommendations. There are several platforms. You can get some evaluation or any other kinds of recommendations to your completed work, and this will help you actually to gain more trust if you make it visible in your profile in the freelance platform. Another way to increase the trust is to add portfolio. It works not only for freelance works, but also when you apply for a corporate career. If you have a portfolio, this will open you a lot of doors. My colleagues in the previous sessions, they mentioned a lot about the portfolio. Probably I should mention only that portfolio and the rules for portfolio depend a lot on your profession, because actually the advices that you can get for a developer the web development portfolio will be probably totally different from the advices that you can get for a portfolio of a designer, or if you are let's say musician. I mean, these are totally different. Yeah, everything is portfolio. In all the cases we're talking about portfolio, but the platforms that you might use are different. The content that you're showing is different. So the principles is, yes, you should prepare your portfolio, but the way of doing this depends really on your profession. Now, in regards to the barrier related to the language, the best way to overcome this barrier, of course, is to improve your language. You can improve your language, obviously, from language courses. Also, you can get them online, you can get them physically in your country. But also, if you have some level, you can improve by watching TV in a particular language that you want to improve your skills. You can read more in the particular language. You can talk with some people in this language, and talking with other people will help you to improve. So there are a lot of ways to improve it, but the important part is that you need to improve it, and you need to start the process of improving it. Do not delay it just because you don't feel the need right now. If you want to target such career, it's better to remove this barrier of language problems. Now, in terms of the barrier of time zone, I already mentioned this actually, that if you see that your client is having a problem to get to you because of time zone, then you can try to find a coworker partner in the country where it's more closer to your client. For example, let's say that you have an American client in USA, then you can try to find a salesperson in Mexico, same time zone, and actually you might be able to solve your problem. So finding international coworker to provide service globally could solve your barrier, time zone barrier. And this also I gave the example of how to overcome the distance problem. Just become remote and digital. Be ready. Close the gap related to remote working by learning more how to use Zoom, Skype, Viber, Teams, Meet, and these are the main, but there are also others way to communicate in a remote way. Sorry. And when you plan such career, international career, or providing your freelance skill set globally, you should be ready with good internet speed, and you should be ready with camera, and you should be ready to use the camera. because this will create more trust. Now, I will move to the next topic. If you don't have, if you have questions, you can again put them in the Q&A. The next topic is related to taxes. So let's imagine that you already have some contacts internationally, and you want to offer your services in a freelance platform, in something like this. You should be aware about the taxes that could occur. Now, there are several issues here. First of all, it's good to research this before you start operating, but in some cases, it's okay that you first start and then research. The main global rule here is that actually, if you are residing in a country for more than 6 months, then you have to pay the local taxes. So, for example, if you move to Greece, for example, and you stay there 7 months, you need to pay the local taxes in Greece. So that's the main rule globally. Now, for this rule, there are a lot of complications later when you are trying to be, compliant with your taxes. If you're a freelancer and you work in your own country, it's totally fine. Then you need to address these questions to a local accountant. You might operate as an individual and pay your taxes as an individual worker. So you can pay your personal taxes, and that's fine. In some cases, probably depends on the local legislation. Probably it's better to have a company, and because probably you will be able to remove some of the from the expenses and actually to decrease the tax base and actually to decrease your taxes. So probably in some cases it's better to have a company. Now it's getting very complicated when you are trying to be present somehow in other countries. Now, because if let's say if you want to work with a company in European Union, because of these tax rules, it will be a very big problem for EU company to work with you. Some of the company will require that you move to their country, to their country in order to provide your services. It's because of the taxes. And in these cases, you probably will need a visa. In EU, it's called the blue card. And actually, it's a long process where you need to receive this blue card in order to apply for any labor working visa. In Bulgaria, for example, this process takes more than 6 months. It's in some very limited cases. So for example, for developers, programmers, you have a list of professions, and developers and programmers are in this list. The process could be decreased from 6 months to, let's say, 3 months or something, or 3-4 months. But it's a long process, and actually a lot of companies in Bulgaria, in EU, are avoiding this process because of the complications. Now, there is another way of working as a freelancer with an EU company, and this is the way of opening your company or branch of your company in some EU companies, like to open, for example, company in Bulgaria, or to open company in another EU country. So in this way, you probably will achieve very good. Will solve very good way. You solve tax issues, because actually, let's say, for example, the VAT taxation from one EU company to another EU company, you're not going to have a VAT, just for example. And then in this case, you just probably will need to care about transferring this money from your branch in let's say, Bulgaria to you somewhere in your country, for example. As I mentioned, actually, the other way to to manage all this is to create a company, if it's in your own country or in EU country, but creating a company in most of the cases will solve a lot of the personal taxes, as I mentioned before. Probably you have a lot of questions on taxes. Again, I just shared a general principle here, and I just wanted to show you that you should care about these questions, because actually this is related to a lot of penalties and fees, and just to be aware and research this question in your local country before, or let's say before taking the money. You can do the work, but if you take the money, then you become interesting for tax authorities. And I think one of the last questions that we need to answer is about the payments. I think it was mentioned in the previous sessions, but it's a really important question. Let's say that you're developer using a freelance platform, and you create account, but one of the questions that you need to solve is how you're going to get paid. And in some of the platforms, you can have different ways, through bank account or PayPal, but in some others, it's really limited, let's say to PayPal, for example, only. So you really need to be careful what are the payment methods, because actually it is possible that you start working for some client, you do the job, and then the client will pay through the platform, through the freelance platform, but at the end you will not be able to move your money to your local bank account for some reason. So actually it's good to research in advance before starting to work for a particular freelance project. It's good to check this, because in some smaller platforms, freelance platforms, it's possible that you might have different problems related to payment. There is something, a lot of people, a lot of freelancers are afraid of this payment topic, because they don't believe that actually they say like this, okay, I will work, obviously I probably will have to work 1 month for this project in this freelance platform, but who will guarantee that I'm going to be paid? It's a reasonable question, and there is a good solution from most of the platforms, the freelance platform. They provide something that is called escrow payment, which means that actually when there is a project opened by a client, and when you apply to this project, then you have a deal. Let's say, okay, I'll do this for $5,000 or euro. Then in this case, when you have a deal, the freelance platform will actually charge the client, and the platform will wait until you get the work done, and the client says yes, he did the work, and when he confirms that the work is done, actually, then you receive the money. So actually the platform is working like a intermediator between you and the client, and is keeping the money until the moment you do the job. So actually it's providing some additional security that actually you'll be paid at the end. So you can check also in the payment terms and conditions if there is such escrow provisioning from the platform. And now, as I mentioned from the previous topic, yes, you can open a company abroad. You can open a company in EU, in European Union. You can open a company in the United States. There are, such free zones where it's easier to be open. For example, in Estonia, they have this e-digital citizenship, and there are companies like Zoho, for example, and there are some others which are helping you remotely to open a company in Estonia and start working as a Estonian entity and providing services to other EU companies within the union. So actually avoiding the VAT, for example. So if you have a service for 1,000, you're not going to charge a Bulgarian company with additional 200 for the VAT, and the service will be 1,000. So there is a sense behind this, and actually you can do such thing. I would recommend Bulgaria and Estonia, not only because of it's legally possible to be done, but because also the taxes, the personal taxes, the corporate taxes are the lowest in Europe for these 2-3 countries: Estonia, Baltic countries, and Bulgaria. These are the lowest taxes in Europe. Okay, I think that's it for now, and I hope that you have enough questions and we'll be able to address them. I also think that we need to have a small break, like 10 minutes. And let's say in 46-7, we should be back to our session. Okay, I think we are done with the 10 minutes.
Yep.
And there were several questions about several requests to review several profiles. So probably we can start with this.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. So we received several profiles, and I'll open them to be reviewed. So the first one is from Maria or Marie Kubriashvili. Yeah. And let's start with the name. So I don't understand what's the name, and this is creating let's say a moment of mistrust, because people are used to understand their names and address each other properly with the name. So I assume that here we should have 2 names separated somehow.
Or simplified, right?
Yeah.
For instance, in my team, I have a guy, he's Danish, and his name is very weird from my perspective. Johan Alexander Linge something. So everywhere he puts his short name, Alec. And that's super easy for everyone to understand.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I think the name is a really critical thing. I mean, when you present yourself, you should be able, you should help other people to address you in easy way. And in this case, we do have an issue here. Now, it's a freelance profile in a Fiverr, which is a freelance platform. And then we read here the description. It looks like a experience, which is, 2 years IT analyst. Now, from this description, I don't understand what's the idea for this profile. Are you looking for a job as a web interface developer? Most probably. But why in the same time you are using IT analyst? IT analyst could be a lot of things, but sometimes it's not interface developer, so it needs to be described much better. What's behind IT analyst? What kind of tools? What kind of competencies? What kind of technologies are used? And linked accounts, great, but I don't see this that it's a linkable Stacks Exchange or GitHub. For a developer, I would say, and my colleagues probably will also confirm that GitHub is critical. So actually, if you have a GitHub and you have some source code there, it should be shared. And education, it's properly published here and let's say well described. Again, mathematics, great. Front-end web developer, I would like to see what's the technology, because actually, is it full stack? I would not believe that in a university you can do too many technologies here. So that's my opinion. What do you think about these colleagues, Emil, Sava?
Honestly, I cannot understand what this profile is about. I mean, probably I can assume based on the icons that we're talking about web developer, right? Front ends, typical front ends, let's say slicer or something. Just I don't see any portfolio, anything like that. Maybe it's just an entry level. Even the price is, I don't know, compared to what, quite low. Or maybe we are not seeing the entire submission. Maybe we are missing some information, but there is not enough good information from my perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree here.
I believe it's quite concise, but not clear at all. If the girl wants to reuse other materials, I definitely would put some links at least. There are some profiles links down there, but it's good to separate or pump it up a bit, make it more representable. I believe that she has way more things to show, and the way she presented is kind of weak, and this makes a wrong impression, and this will lead to really low number of people who will be interested. And as well, starting at, what does it mean? This is probably the lowest price. If you just say starting at, you pretty much say nothing. So better say average or something like that, so they can estimate. If I book you for 100 hours, then I'll probably pay that one and I'll get certain services. But just starting at it worth nothing. Just it takes the place on the page. I don't know.
Yeah, it's starting out because they have, you know, three types of services. The first one is the basic one. It's kind of described, I mean, that it's creating a web page with HTML, CSS. The standard one is double more, but it's 2 pages, 1 day delivery, and the premium is 2 days, 1 page. Okay, I don't know. I mean, pricing at this point probably. I think this profile needs a lot of improvement here in this part. I mean, in order to get more trust from the customers, you need to have more you know, links to portfolio, links to GitHub. Not only yeah, obviously you have a GitHub, fine, but let's see what's the source code there. More examples, more projects, more details. Relation between the education and the particular skills, all this stuff. So yeah, I think it needs to be improved in here in the presentation layer, and then probably we can talk about pricing like on a later stage.
I would just add, for further details, they should get in touch with myself. Otherwise, maybe the platform limits the number of things you can enter. So it's good to just provide a different way to communicate the rest of the.
Because I have used this platform, I mean, I do believe that they are good ways to add your experience, to add your projects, and at least you can use description field here much in a better way. That so I don't think it's yes, you do have a limitation on the pricing for sure. I mean, this part is, you know, a functionality of the platform for sure. But describing yourself, I don't think there are too many limits here. Okay, let's move to the other profile. I would say speechless. That's the entire profile. So here, I think it's obvious that first of all, the link that was shared with me.
Oh, it's a private profile.
Yeah.
You cannot access its details. That's the reason why.
Yeah. So actually, we should not comment here because actually we don't see. Probably it's a perfect profile, but we actually cannot see it. But that's another issue, that actually, if you want to sell your services, you need to be much more public. Not so much private. So that's I think my comment will be this. So if you want to sell yourself online, you need to be public somehow. Anyone else? Do you want to add something else, Sava or Emil?
No, let's move to the next one.
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
Now this is the other profile. I don't have experience with this platform, frankly speaking. Design-wise, looks strange. I mean, I don't know why is that. I mentioned in my session previously that this type of listing without supporting portfolio is not working, because actually I don't see any supporting information that actually this particular person is an expert in article writing. I don't know. So this type of profiles is like 1 minute, I would say 1 minute profiles. I mean, why 1 minute profiles? Not because you spent 1 minute, probably you spent 1 minute, but it's 1 minute that will be spent by the recruiter or by the client to this profile, not more. So actually they will skip it really, really quickly. Yes, you know, probably it will be catched by some searching tools, but if they don't see any confirmation, any support of this, it will be just skipped, and that's it. So my comment is that, I mean, it's too limited as information, and the claims of skills is not supported by additional portfolio or projects. Anyone else? Or we should move to the next one?
Yeah, I would agree, definitely.
Okay, moving to the next one. So
I guess we should say for everyone that sometimes, you know, the devil is in the details, right? So sure. If we don't have details, if you don't present any details, no one will be able to judge or justify your level. That's impossible.
Yeah. True. Now this profile looks better for sure. Design-wise, at least. There is a picture, great. There is first name, good. But if you want to stay more professional, I would say a full name. Probably it's a limitation again of security on the profile. I will do this publicly and I'll put my full name here. But so these reviews are important. I mentioned this in my presentation, that actually you should strive for getting more reviews and for getting positive reviews. It's really important to create more trust in your profile. Also, this type of verifications, I mean, you know, it creates the sense to the reader that actually something is not checked, something is not fine. So actually, if you're using something like this, you should try to you know, have identified verified preferred freelancer, probably is more difficult, but you should try to do to get all this checked. It creates a sense of trust and professionalism. So pricing, fine. Location, fine. It's a profile for more than 1 year, which is, I would say, I mean, not enough information for 1 year, which is not good. From recruitment perspective, I mean, recruiters always look into the experience of the person. So my conclusion here is, okay, it's a 1 year profile, great. What we have done, what is done for 1 year? And we see a quality assurance manager, and then, but we are applying for what? For web developer? It's confusing, really. So, if you want to be web developer, you should target everything in here to be confirming this claim for web developer. So I should find education related to web development, which I don't find. I should find projects which confirm that you are able to provide web development, which I don't find. So this is my reading. Sava, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I can add plenty of things here. Maybe it's a starter, right? So it's quite normal that there is no experience or formal education. That's okay, perfectly fine. First thing I'm noticing that this profile is under Freelancer Java developers, right? As I can see just above the reviews. And on the other hand, I don't see any Java mentioned
Here
in this profile.
In the top skills.
But if you go back to I'm reading the short presentation. I'm from Georgia and I learn information technology. I'm experienced at C#, .NET, MVC, Python, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I know a few about CCNA and nothing about Java.
I agree.
On the other hand, you're in the Java developer section. Honestly, I don't believe that anyone can be expert in all those. I can safely bet that that's not the case. If that was the case, your hourly expectation wouldn't be $5 per hour, right?
Yeah.
There is no way. I would focus. I would write down only things that I know for sure that I'm experienced with, because here I see C#, okay, with .NET, they go together, MVC as well, but Python, that's prototyping language. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, web developer. C# is other thing that's used for other stuff. So it's quite confusing.
Yeah.
In the top skills, I see Windows desktop, Android. I don't know how it's related. Also test automation. There is no way.
And it ends. And then I know few about CCNA, which is it's a certification. I mean, I mean, is it a English language problem, or I mean, it's not related to the previous. It's not supporting the main topic of I'm web developer. I mean, CCNA has nothing to do with web developer for sure. And as you mentioned, I mean, you're listed in Java, but you're not supporting Java, neither in the description, neither with projects, So yeah, it looks well design-wise, but on the content side, it needs improvement.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Okay, Emil, or we should move to the other one?
Oh, I think you covered pretty much everything.
Okay, so let's move to the other one. Valery Chitaladze. Okay, project manager. I would say this one looks very well. You do have some kind of dedication to project management. Great. You do have describe experience, and this experience is confirming and supporting the main dedication of project manager. So we see that dedication is project manager, and then we have experience 7 months here, 3 years here. So from recruitment point of view, I will take you for a project manager. I will put you into the pipeline for a project manager. Now, then we have software implementation project advisor, good. System, another profile, system administration, okay. IT department manager, project manager. Now I will have a remark here. So 6 years of 6 years of IT department manager, which is a, let's say, high level position, and then going to project manager, from functional to project management. That's something that I will ask during the interview. So you should be prepared for a lot of questions here, because as a recruiter, I would ask you why this is happening. Why here you're on a higher level position and then you go to a project manager. So,
well, sometimes, Daniel, that sometimes the pure IT staff or the sysadministration in the past was called IT management, right? It doesn't mean that you're managing people or stuff. You might be just managing some servers.
Sure, of course. That's why this kind of questions I will ask, but it might be something else.
Yeah, of course. It's not.
And then we have chairman of the board. Actually, I saw that it's a pretty much technical profile, and then there is this dedication to project manager, which is okay. There is kind of switch of the career here, and it's obvious. The profile, according to me, is good one. Just if you use this as a CV, I would say you better have a CV separately, and this CV should answer to the requirements of the particular position. So if the position is for a project manager, then I will focus on the project management experience, and I don't need to say that I'm certified information security manager, which is a good certification. It just doesn't help me to the project management profile.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, but if I'm applying for a security job, IT security job, then I will remove some of the project management related things and I'll focus on this one. So, yeah, it's a good profile, but when it needs to be, the data here needs to be used in a smart way when you're applying for something particular, let's say.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
What I'm missing is particularly what kind of projects, right? Project manager means a lot of things, right?
True.
We can see here and there that it's probably related to banking or fintech.
Yeah.
But because I'm into these fields, and it's quite huge field, right? It's one thing to be experienced, let's say, in the regulation stuff or banking. It's totally different to be in the brokerage. That's like two different worlds, right?
Yeah.
So maybe mentioning what kind of projects you're managing, or the guy is managing, actually, Valery, that would help. Definitely.
Yeah, and the English again. I mean, special. I don't know. It's a small thing here, but it gives you. There is no precision. I mean, if I'm a recruiter, I'll say, okay, why should the person do such a mistake? I mean, it's everyone could do this mistake. That's true. But this profile is not a new one, and then why it stays so long time without being corrected? So there are a lot of questions that could start from a small mistake like this. So spell check, it's important. Language, demonstrate your language skills. Okay. Emil, do you want to add something, or we should move to the next one?
Yeah, I just would ask, well, maybe a good point here is just to ask for some references, because obviously this guy has a lot of experience. So probably he knows a lot of people, and a couple of references, just feedback from some of the companies, probably the most recent ones, would be a nice addition to this profile. And the other thing I would argue is it's good to have a picture, because people like to see who is in front of them. So profile without a picture is, I don't know, maybe 10 years back, it was normal. But right now, a nice picture, a professional one, would make a difference, at least.
Yeah, I agree. In this case, we might have a limitation because of the platform. Probably, I tried to log here. Let me refresh. Yeah.
Nice. So we have a picture, and that's covered. As well, like you said a minute ago, I would elaborate on each description, just trying to stress what was my role, what I have contributed, what were my duties. That's really important. Just a name and 3 years in that company pretty much means nothing. Just 3 years of work, but what I have been doing, is it going to be something good if I was about to start somewhere? Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. I will add something here for general comment about LinkedIn. Actually, 370 connections, great. Now, if you in Bulgaria, we do have a someone could help me with the translation. If you're afraid from bears, you shouldn't go to the forest. Is it good translation?
Sort of, especially when you know the local expression.
Okay, so but the idea is that you're going to a social network. So what should you do? It's connections. You should have connections. I mentioned in the very beginning that I have been managing recruiters in my teams. I mean, I had 15 recruiters in one team. The first week, I asked them to reach 500 connections in LinkedIn. That was the target for the first week. And why is that? It's because of this part here. You see, it seems that Valery and myself, we have a mutual connection. Now I can go to Vladimir Petkov, which I know perfectly, and ask him, is Valery good enough for this particular job that I have? And if you have a positive relationship with Vladimir, probably you have very good chances to get the job. So that's why you need to have as many as possible connections here. It doesn't cost you more. It's not expensive. So actually, if you are a network, go and make connections. So if you're afraid of doing connections, don't if you're afraid from the bears, don't go to the forest. So that's my general comment here.
Sorry, Daniel, can I argue a bit here, if you don't mind?
Sure, of course.
Why would it matter how many connections we have in LinkedIn?
First thing is your visibility. You see here, this thing here, it's the level of connection. So it's second. It means that we do have a common mutual connections.
Yeah, I understand that.
A big part is third connection. Now, so let's say that I'm a recruiter, right? And I'm looking for a project manager in Georgia. Let's say I'm looking for a project management in Georgia for a big international project in Georgia, and I'm researching for such candidate. If he was third connection, you saw just a minute ago, I would not be able to see the picture.
Mm-hmm.
I will not be able to see that I have common friends with him. I will not be able to see skills and endorsements. See, everything was hidden for me. And now, because I have connection with Valery through Vladimir, I can see more of him. And it's much closer to the desired job. That's it. That's why.
So
this is only in case if we apply for a certain job with our
No,
LinkedIn
this is in
profile.
case of headhunting. If you're not applying and someone is looking for such person like you.
Yeah, but if it's about the headhunting, right? So we are in passive mode, let's say.
Yeah, but actually, I would say that a lot of successful projects start from headhunting. Not only when you're headhunted for a particular job, but a client might headhunt you. I mean, a client might search for you in the similar way. So let's say I have a company, and I will have a project in Georgia, and I am looking for the project manager. So it looks like a recruitment task, but actually I could be an owner of a company, not a recruiter. I might need the same thing. I probably will do the same thing. And if he was not in my connection list here, I will not be able to see it. So visibility, that's the reason why. More connections, more visibility of yourself, better selling of yourself. I know that a lot of developers consider this annoying. I know that this is kind of, they think that more connections will mean more disturbance from a lot of people. Believe me, even if you have one connections, there are paid accounts in LinkedIn, and you'll be disturbed enough in a paid way. So it's not a problem that someone will disturb you in LinkedIn. They can use emails for this, so and they will reach you. So it doesn't matter if you have 1,000 or one connection. So, but again, if you are afraid of bears, don't go to the forest. Okay, should we move to the next one? Yeah. Okay, here let's
this guy's disqualified. He has only 36 connections, so it's not usable at all.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, he's disqualified if he applies for recruiter. My first target is here. When you have more than 500 connections, it doesn't show you that you have, let's say, 1,000. It shows just 500 plus, and that's it. So I'm not going to hire a senior recruiter if he has 36. I need to see here 500 plus. So for recruiter, he's disqualified for sure. But let's see, front-end trainer. Okay.
I just checked my LinkedIn. Actually, I have 500 plus without doing any efforts, right?
Wow.
Just happened.
Good
so where
recruiter.
do I apply? I'm kidding.
Okay, yeah. So again, this thing with all caps, small letters. In our culture, in Western cultures, this could be confusing. Some people could consider this as kind of not knowing the grammar, and it just creates a negative connotation. That's it. I mean, if you want to live with this, fine. But you should not worry why you have less people coming to your profile, less people addressing you in a positive way. So it might be because just this small letter here. So that's the first thing I see. But smiling, let's say smiling picture, that's fine, great. Nothing about about me information, which is, kind of 0 points, which is kind of, disrespectful, I would say. Then we have the experience, which is IT administration, front IT administration for unlimited time. I mean, which is not giving me nothing. So here I will, as a recruiter, I will disregard this experience because I don't know if it's a 1 month, 1 week, or 1 year or 10 years. So I would disregard this one. Then I'll go for this front-end trainer, which corresponds directly to this dedication here, which is good. So I could assume that this person is, dedicated to this profession. And unfortunately, nothing else that helped me. I mean, front-end designer, great. Nobody endorsed you. I don't believe you have it. No, so actually it's just a claim of front-end trainer. It's not supported by anything. It's not supported here in about me information. It's not supporting from a project that is described, and LinkedIn is giving such such functionalities. You can describe projects, you can describe portfolios, you can, it's really powerful. So actually it needs a lot of improvement here. Contact information. That's it. So I always use this part, and I put some contacts here. Again, if you don't want to meet the bear, don't go to the forest. I mean, if you want to be contacted, ask something to be contacted. Messages here is not the best way. Actually, you see here, I'm forbidden to, because he has only 36 connections. He is on my 3rd level of connections, and I cannot send a free message to him. He didn't share any phone, any Skype, anything. So it's uncontactable. Great, you have a profile, but that's it. Sorry for being so probably rude, apologies, but the idea here is to help. Anyone else?
Well, I think that he started good, but he must put a lot of details to use that platform. So far, it's just to be there, just a simple presence. And I want to add something about the connections. If you have more connections, then a lot of people can endorse you. I don't believe that endorsement is that powerful, but it's some sort of a proof that a lot of people know that you're good at something, and they just vote about that one. And when someone is checking your profile, he sees a lot of endorsements. So maybe it will become something in the future, but so far you can improve your endorsements when you have better network. A lot of people who can prove that you're good at web technologies or design or whatever you're good at.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Emil. Actually, endorsements, they work like similarly to the connections. If you have more than 99, I think, it will say 99 plus, and that's it. I mean, you don't know if they're like 500 or 300. And recruiters, they will consider this only if you have 99 plus in most of the cases.
Nice.
So, but you cannot have 99 plus if you have 36 connections. That's impossible.
Yeah, the math says the opposite. Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah, so actually, it's the same thing like listing in a CV several skills. Great, they're listed, but nothing behind. I mean, no project, no endorsement, no, and it's possible that this person is great front-end trainer, but it is true that it's not presented in this way. Okay, I think that we can move to the questions now. I'm done with the profiles.
Thank you, Emil. Okay. Should I read them? Okay.
Yeah.
How do I prepare for FAA and probably an English interview? How to keep the nerves during interview when it is not in your mother language?
I'm not sure that I understand how to keep the nerve.
How to be relaxed, how to be, or if you wish, confident in this interview when it is in your mother language. This is how I understand the question, probably.
If you're not in your mother language.
Yeah. Let's say it's in English and I'm from Bulgaria or Georgia.
No, the only way to be confident if you're confident in the skill, in the language skill.
Or what I'm doing, because I'm not confident at all in my language, right? What I'm doing, I keep using very simple words, right? I never explain, I never go into long sentences that I don't know what I'm explaining. I just keep it simple.
You know, there is a recruitment rule. I mean, when you're during an interview, there is a rule that which says that the recruiter should manage the interview in a way then in which the, the the candidate should talk 80% of the time, and the recruiter should talk 20% of the time. So it's a kind of rule.
Yeah, it's kind of rule which nobody follows, and that drives me crazy. But that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story. But if the recruiter follows this rule, then you're lost. You know, because actually you need to talk 80% of the time, and you're not confident in the language. But you can, if you have the chance to have a recruiter that is not following such rule, so you can instead of answering questions, you can raising new questions. So making the interviewer to talk more, and then your language skill will be somehow, you know, not visible. Okay, you can pass the interview. People will try to, you know,
or you can bounce back with questions, right? What I'm doing usually, I'm shooting questions, and which I know that they will require a lot of explanations, and that will save me.
Yeah.
Let's say, what's your vision for this team for the next 3 years, and what technical issues you're foreseeing? And at this point, I'm gaining 15 minutes of nonsense explanations.
Yeah, what's the project management framework that you're using, or a lot of questions for sure. The problem here is that before you're accepting the offer, if you how to say, if you manage to cheat an interview with lower, let's say, English level skills, and you manage to pass the interview, okay. But before accepting the offer, make sure that English is not such critical skill in this job, because otherwise you're lying to yourself. I mean, in Bulgaria, you have a, let's say, called probation period, and usually in this probation period, the employer could terminate the contract from one side immediately. So actually, you're lying yourself. If it's an important thing, on the first working day, they will understand that there is a mismatch between the requirements of English and your English. So being confident, it's yeah, you can kind of pass the interview, but be sure that it's not a critical requirement.
Yep. By the way, yeah, sure, Emil, go ahead.
Just want to add, the confidence comes with the tries. So probably it will be hard the first time, but you have to keep trying. Otherwise, there will be no improvement on your end. There is always this stress, and it's hard. It's not your native language, but even in your native language, the interview is kind of stressful. They're just examining how good you are, and you can just be stressed a bit more. So you have to keep doing it. It's like walking or riding a bike. You're getting good with the time. So just keep taking interviews, and you'll make it. Fake it till make it. People usually use that one.
Okay. By the way, Danail, I believe you have access to the question and answer section, right? There is a LinkedIn profile posted by Tamar. Maybe we can open it. You can open it and to review it. And that's the request. We are unable to see it on the screen. I don't know if it's your.
Yeah, I will just open it just a second. Okay. Okay, so we are seeing Tamar Chelidze. And so the first thing here is that you see 206 connections, but Tamar, she did her job, and she allowed me to see her picture, even if I'm third part. So it's a setting that you can manage from your profile. So actually it gives your first impression in totally different way. you know, we have a face, we have some background. So the first thing is to, you know, in recruitment, there is this 7 seconds rule that you do your first impression in the 7 seconds. So it's really important. I mean, I know that it sounds not professional, but people are people and they are influenced by such things. So if you want to use it, use it. Then about the about me information, CEO, okay. When I see a founder and CEO here, I will not expect this person to look for a job. I will expect this person to look for a business. So that's the first thing here. So if I see this CV applying for a job, I'll say no. Because of my expectation. My expectation is that CEO and a founder should look for a business opportunity. Of course, I will not stop here, and I'll read more in the real life as well. 13 years of progressive experience in international development sector, donor-funded projects such as EU, the World Bank, USAID. Okay. Founder of VSign, Digital Proctor, and Neuro Design Agency. Okay. George. Okay, so that's our our well-known George's Innovation Technology Agency. 4 years there. Okay. It's even described what was done during this period, which is great. Matching grants coordination, okay. Finance and administrative manager of EU projects. That's interesting job. Finance and contracts management, head of finance, finance officer, project accountant, finance officer, finance manager. Okay, it's well described, corresponding and supporting the experience education as well. Some endorsements here, I see. Languages, interests, which such big experience, it will be really helpful if there are some certificates here. They help a lot. And I still don't, I mean, this profile is excellent if you're looking for a client. If you're looking for a client, it's excellent. You're a founder and you're looking for a client for VSign. That's the right profile. If you're looking for a job, it depends on the job. Except if it's a CEO job, for everything else, the first question will be why you are underestimating yourself. So if you apply for project manager here, yes, you do have a project manager experience. Fine. If you're applying for head of finance and administration, you do have this experience. Fine. But you are currently CEO, and I will need to find why you're going from CEO to the 1 or 2 levels below.
Perhaps we don't know the context, right? In general, it looks like a decent profile, right?
It is, for sure. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that I would stop the CV in a recruitment process. I'm just saying that it will create questions during the interview phase. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. And if you scroll a bit below, I really like the way the activities for each positions are listed in this bulleted manner. It's very consistent and it's awesome.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, of course, probably Emil will say again that actually there are not enough endorsements here. I agree. and the same thing.
Guys, do you really believe in the endorsements? Seriously,
I told you when.
I checked my. Sorry, I just mentioned something. I checked my endorsements. I have like many endorsements in C++, something that I'm not dealing with since many years, right? Yeah. Somebody just clicking is endorsing me without any idea what I'm doing, right? It just
yep. Yeah, but if you don't have
it doesn't make a sense. It doesn't make sense at all.
I agree. It's not total truth, but it's still something. It's some sort of attention. You gain some sort of attention, probably.
Yeah, you have a lot of friends. You have a lot of friends, and both together you click on your endorsements. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it will give you it will give you advantage. I mean, if you have more than 100 endorsements in C++, if you have a recent job in C++, if you're applying for C++ job, it will give you advantage in comparison to other applicants where they don't have endorsements, for sure.
I believe this is one of those tiny details that do not count in general, but sometimes they can help you in a good way. Just you shouldn't strive for that one, but if you have it, then it's a good addition.
You know, there is in LinkedIn, when you apply for a job, there is an automatic pre-selection tool which takes the data from these endorsements. Actually, when you apply for a job, let's say for C++, and it will go to your endorsements. So first, the job has several requirements. Let's say they have like 10 requirements. And then it will go and check in your endorsements. And if you don't have such endorsements, it will put you very low in the listing there. So there
I never explored this section of my profile. Now I opened it perhaps for the first time, and I realized that I'm some kind of universal guru, you know. If you open my profile, you'll see I have endorsements in every technology you can imagine, even in project management. Can you imagine? I don't know who did that.
More than 100 endorsements?
In total, yes.
No. Per endorsement, per skill.
Per skill, on average, like 20, 30.
No, so that's not enough. I mean, it's not enough to you know, this automatic tool of LinkedIn will classify you below most of the people. No, it depends, of course, it depends, but it will give you a lower score. That's it. Which means something or means nothing. It depends on the recruiter, the hiring manager, the company, a lot of things, but it is influencing the decisions for sure.
Really?
Yes, it is. Especially for soft skills, especially for, you know, things that are not so easy to be qualified.
Okay.
Especially for mass applications. So if you have 1,000 people for this position, you don't have a chance to talk with all of them. So you need such tool. You need something to tell you who might be better, and you focus your 5 minutes to this person, not to the one without endorsements. That's a true.
Okay. Thanks. Right. Shall we move to the next question?
Yep.
Yeah. Tamar just commented, the lady, which profile we are observing. Actually, I'm looking for clients, but at some time I would like to pursue part-time contract opportunities. Plus, I'm in the path of changing my career. So how could I use my profile for both? What to change? Well, perhaps you need 2 profiles. That would be the answer.
It's a really difficult one. I mean, because of the change of career. I mean, yeah, from one side you want to write something that will open you new career opportunities, and from another side you need to be very convincing of what you're doing right now, and it's very difficult. I would say use different channels. I'll use different channels. I'll do if you want to just different channels for the both targets, and I will change the content accordingly.
Yeah, accordingly. Yeah. Okay. Actually, yeah, it seems that the guys are fascinated with the feedback about the profile. So let's open another one from Georgie Gohadze, and there is another one from Anonymous. Yeah, whichever you prefer, Daniel, it's up to you.
Okay.
Let's go over the profiles.
Okay, so George Gilgnadze. I hope that I'm pronouncing correctly the names. Apologies if it's not correctly.
I believe it's pronounced Georgi as we are using it.
Yeah, Georgi. Yeah, I think so. Yes. So 500 more. You see?
Good one.
Yeah, ready for the forest. Okay.
Check the skills. That's crucial.
Yeah.
And check the endorsements. That's
first
crucial.
we have so many common people in common. Yeah, I can ask 2 of them at least. That's good. Contact. Wow, that's it. Yeah, he's approachable. That's great. Well done, Georgi. Description here. So front-end developer, startup founder. Okay, this mixture, it's a problematic, but that's your life. That's a totally real life story. 2 months in front-end development, 1 year CEO, front-end development, 3 years. Okay, convinced it's possible that we're talking about front-end developer. I'm convinced. Of course, it's when I say convinced, it means that I'm going to have an interview with you, but that it's not that you're getting the job. Front-end developer, another 3 months. Now, there is something called job jumping. The rule here for the recruiters is that if you change jobs in 1 year more than 3 times, you're a job jumper. Now, here in
sorry,
2000,
what was the rule?
For 3 times in 1 year. 3 times in 1 year.
3 times in a. So if it's 2 or 1, it's okay. It's acceptable.
Yeah, if you have like one job for 1 year, then another job for another year, that's fine. But
that's
here
fine.
in 2017, something happens. So we have a sales, then we have a CEO, then we have a free front-end developer. We are going to talk a lot about this period in your CV, so you should be prepared when you approach the interview.
It seems like an experiment. The 85 seems like an experiment.
It could be personal. It could be everything. I mean, it could be everything, but you should be prepared with good answers here. It's a career change, a lot of things. So it's something that needs to be addressed by you, Georgi, and you need to be prepared during interviews to give good explanations about this one.
Georgi, my friendly advice would be just to drop some of those, like the CEO and co-founder for 85. It's like for 3 months or something. April, 4 months, actually, yeah. You shouldn't even mention it, honestly.
Yeah.
It will raise so many questions that you don't want to hear.
Yeah, and actually this period is much longer. So it starts from 2020 and back to it's 4 years of something. So it's and that's good. This part is good. That actually this cycle of job jumper is seized by these 2 positions here. Great. One of the ways here is to, if it is a freelance project, like here, to be clearly written that it's a freelance project. Here it's freelance project. That's fine. But here, what is it? It's its own project, let's say. Fine. Here, it's unknown. here it's unknown, and here it's unknown. If it's a freelance, write it down, it will help. And 2 months intern, that's fine. Internships, they're not. Y Combinator, great. It's one of the biggest, the most famous schools for startups. It's difficult to get in, so it's a good thing to be seen here. Certifications, great. New Horizons, of course. Yeah, I think it's a very good profile, excellent profile. Good in endorsements, much better, a little bit more. I mean, you need just 21 endorsements and you will be master of JavaScript. I'm joking, of course, but this will be the impression that you give to stupid recruiters like me. So actually, I will invest in 21 more endorsements here. Accomplishments. Actually, I think that's the possibility to add a link here. This will be much more trustful than just a link and just a writing here. Language is fine. Yep. In general, excellent profile. There are some parts that will create questions for sure, and you should be ready to answer during interviews. Again, with this dedication here, it's more again for searching opportunities, business opportunities, than applying for a job in a company. So that should be the purpose of this profile. So that's it. That's it from me. Anyone else?
Okay. No, I believe you covered everything in this manner. There is another profile from somebody anonymous. Maybe you want to open it.
It won't be anonymous anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe to some friend.
So, sorry if I'm misspelling the name. Besiki Gugishvanidze. Okay. Again, picture is visible. I'll use more professional background here. It will create more trust and it will look more respectful. The dedication here is why I'm saying about this dedication, because in this, when the recruiter starts search here, this is like the title of the page. I mean, it will bring you directly to this kind of people. So this dedication is important. Also for search engine like Google, this will appear. So actually, this is important part of your profile here. But when you use such dedication, then it needs to be supported down in the profile. Now we have information technology coordinator. Great. And we see coordinator here, and now we see some skills in different technologies, which kind of support, I'll say, the dedication here. Then experience, IT coordinator. Okay, 5 years, good. Backend developer. Okay, we're getting more deeper into technologies, which is good. Information technology manager, manager coordinator, that's not, I mean, question mark here. Information technology specialist, 11 months, okay. University job, 3 years, and 3 years, fine, it's totally fine, acceptable. I mean, it's not something that is let's say problematic. The same university, fine. Computer science. So yeah, till now we do have some confirmation about the dedication of this profile. Endorsements, I would say not enough. to be considered at all. So actually I'll skip this part. I'll not take them seriously. But listed in this way, you'll be considered by the automatic tool of LinkedIn. So if you apply to a job for C#, you'll be covering this part for somehow. So and it's not approachable profile. No contact info. I'm third level of link. So actually I have some barriers to contact this person. So in general, good profile, well supported, but I will add more on the projects.
I would say particularly which technologies were used in these positions. Backend developer doesn't mean a thing for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Perhaps if I scroll down, probably, but that's as an assumption, probably it's .NET Core. But that's just an assumption.
Yeah, but that's an assumption, exactly. So actually this C#, I would love to see it here. Here. I mean,
exactly. And it will be much better if it's just C# developer. It's clear that it's backend. Yeah, and the technology is clear.
And here also, I mean, you have some courses in particular this, for example, link. Not a lot of university will teach you how to do link. But if you have a special course in this from the university, why not? Okay. Anyone else, or should we move to the questions?
No, we continue with the profiles. I mean, there are questions, but there are as well profiles. Probably.
But we have like 20 minutes.
Yeah, but let's see another profile. Teona Mush. The questions are relatively easy to answer. I believe we can answer them very quickly. So let's see. We should appreciate that the guys are, not afraid to share their profiles.
Of course. Okay. Teona Mushambadze, front-end engineer.
I'm already in. Word is open source. I'm already in.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. Good slogan. Connections, contacts. Yeah. Good. Yeah. GitHub. Great. Portfolio accessible. Great. Upwork. That's interested. I think it's not a registration. Mutual connections. Okay, you have been approached by HR in Bulgaria. Great. Now, experience. Freelancer in Upwork for 3 years. Wow, that's a good one. Now, personally, I'm sure that there is previous experience here. Yeah, how to prove it? So 2018, and before that we have a lot of courses.
That was probably the investment period.
Yeah. Okay, for sure, I will ask here about previous experience. And for me, it will be important to, it depends what you're targeting with this profile. If you're targeting another freelance job, maybe when I open Upwork and I see if you have recommendations from projects, how many projects you have, this will be the factors that will influence my decision. If you're applying for a job in a company, a company job, I will need this experience confirmed by a corporate job or a startup job or any job, because also I don't see when this education happens, It's a mixture of education. So it seems like a career change during the education period. This certificate is, can't say, it's as far as I know, it's not from the, you can have more reputable certifications here for sure, with better reputation. But it's great that you have them. Endorsements from people, that's important actually. In Western cultures, like UK, United States, that's really important. So actually, if you have more endorsements like this will help you. And now we see, kind of, so CSS support, HTML support, front-end development support. Yeah, I would say, yeah, endorsement support the dedication. Yep. Pretty much good profile. If it's a freelancer and a freelancer looking for another freelance job, I think it's a good one. Yeah.
My only, my 2 cents would be, again, from the front-end developer, I don't see any technologies, right? I don't know what it means. Does it include JavaScript as well? And if it includes JavaScript, which particular framework? And that's not just to talk, just to, just to keep my mouth talking, but recently in our company, I'm very interested in guys with React experience. So if I don't see React, I'm just skipping to the next thing.
I agree. Okay.
I would have just follow the hype. So if it's React, then you have to learn React, and you probably convert more and more projects to successful ones. So definitely support Sava. Just use the keywords like JavaScript, HTML5, React Native if you want to do mobile apps, Cordova, etc. Just technologies probably you have been using, but they should be visible on your profile. And just projects, if those projects are opened, or if there are actual products or pages, just link them. You obviously put effort, so try to, you use that for your benefit. Thank you.
And as you saw already, I mean, well described. I mean, as Emil and Sava said, you should be more detailed on this, but in general, it's well described profile, and you do have results. You're already connected from just 366 connections. You already connected by recruiter, so it means that you are attracting attention. So I think good job. You need to improve a little bit more, and it will be just great. Should we move?
Yes, let's move, as we'll be running out of time. Okay, about taxes and payments. If we create company in Estonia or anywhere else and avoid VAT and other taxes, we will still pay taxes when using that money for ourselves. We need somehow to withdraw that money to use it, right?
True.
True.
Yeah, it is true, but it depends. I mean, when you, okay, you have 2 types of taxes, right? You have corporate taxes, you have personal taxes. You have also other types, but we're not going to discuss them now. So, and the game here is to make, because in the corporate taxes, you can use your expenses to decrease your base of the taxable base. And in this way, you can actually manipulate in a totally legal way. You can manipulate the tax itself. So you actually could totally legally to put your expenses in such a way that actually you don't have, or you have a limited profit, and then you pay a small amount of taxes. So this is one thing. Of course, you need to provide something for you for living, But for example, you can do this through dividend. Yeah, I mean, you withdraw money from your corporate company.
The dividend tax is flat. It's usually 5%. And in some countries,
in Bulgaria, yes. In some countries, even lower.
Even zero. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, it depends where you open the company, and actually, this is the way how you decrease the personal taxation as well. Because actually, if you are just an employee in, let's say, Bulgaria, you have almost like 17% of taxes. But if you open a company and pay yourself through dividend, you pay 5% of the taxes. So I hope that this answers the question.
No.
I mean,
you also have to pay corporate tax, which is 10%. So it's 15, but compared to employment, which is in total 35%, you're gaining like 20%.
Yeah, but you can manipulate the corporate tax because you can input it. You can
if you have expenses. That's not so easy to achieve, especially if you are alone. I've been there, right?
Sure. Go on.
So if you at some point you get a lot of money, there is no way you can cover them with expenses. I mean, anyways, right?
Okay. Did we answer the question?
Yeah. Okay. What else? About the portfolio, is it possible for manual tester to add links for manuals and instructions of a project which one worked for, like links or manual for specific functionality one had tested? No, I would say no.
Emil has answered previously on this question. I mean, in the previous session.
But
I'll try to summarize. Just if it's a product that's publicly available, like you have been working on the documentation, just provide a link to that one and say I contributed like 30% or 50% or whatever. It's the real fare of it, and the guy who is checking will see that the quality of that thing, and they can evaluate that effort. So just share it, but don't share just tiny parts. You have to have some added value to a product. For example, if you're manual QA, you probably write test cases, you do some documentation, whatever you've been doing, and just share that thing. Just tiny bits, they do not count.
Okay. We've answered that. Okay. What if I'm a quite private person, not much social interactive, but I have knowledge, I can do the job, and I can do that well enough? Any suggestions to bypass strong connections, but still get the job and do that enough?
Well, may I just answer it? You need an agency. Someone should do the selling for you.
Somebody should do the sales part. The sales part.
If you're shy and you do the coding, then you need a manager or someone who will crunch the stuff for you and give you just the task, and you give back them the code and you get paid. So this is either an agency or someone who will act as a sales for you, will find the projects and will do the negotiation. Just look for a partner, co-founder, whatever, but you need somebody else to do the talking, which is important.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Finally, I really don't get this question about networking. If one has an iPhone, then it is possible to use Clubhouse. Of course, if there are proper rooms or club sittings. I don't know the context. I don't get it.
Yeah. So I don't have an iPhone. I don't want to have an iPhone, actually. That's the answer.
Same here.
But yeah, I don't know what's behind this question. Sorry.
Me neither. Okay. And finally, Emil, I believe you had some question about the CEOs.
Yeah, my question was how it's possible to be a part-time CEO and to be working part-time something else. And I have some kind of an answer for myself, but I just want to hear your opinions. So my idea is that if my company is not yet developed, then I have to live from something. So I have to work something else part-time at least to survive. But this is my opinion. Do you have any other ideas? Is it looking good to have a CEO and then to look for a job? We already saw similar profiles. I guess everyone who is trying to become a freelancer will be with similar profile. So what do you think?
I've been CEO for many years of one of my companies, right? And at some point, I started to look for a job that was in during the previous financial crisis. And all of the HRs were shocked that I'm a CEO and I'm looking for a job, right? And they asked me why. I said, because I have financial troubles. That was 10 years ago. So it's possible. And on the other hand, I didn't want to close the company. And I was looking for a job to help my family and my budget. I believed back then that it's quite normal. When I understood the nature of the hiring managers, I immediately removed all my CEO titles and occupations from my CV where I'm applying for jobs. Usually the guys who've been their entire careers like purely employees, they could never get it. They just don't get it. So I'm just removing it from the CV. That's it. As simple as that. Apart from that, yes, when there is an established business, I have 3 of them. And for all of them, I'm the owner, like 70% or more. And I have people who are working into them. And I'm dedicating most of the operational stuff.
Yeah, actually, nothing to add here. It was already discussed. So yeah, it's possible, but it's difficult.
So to sum it up, it's good to, if I'm applying for a job, it's good to just use either a different channel or a CV or a profile where I don't have the CEO title. And for the other probable work opportunities with other companies in behalf of my company, then I have to use the other profile where I'm listed as a CEO or co-founder or whatever.
Yep.
Good advice. Thank you, Sava.
Most welcome. Always hide, whenever you apply for a position that is lower than your, let's say, current employment or something, it's better to hide it. But people will be confused. Why? There will be many whys. All right. Thank you all. I believe that was a fun. Yeah, there is another question. Just very quickly. I think just before startup, it's better financially. It's maybe a good idea to do both at the same time. Yeah, exactly. We should do both. Just hide your CEO titles or whatever. Okay. That was a great evening. I believe so. Thank you very much, Danail. The profiles exploration was fun, I would say. So thanks a lot. And thank you everybody for these fantastic evenings. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.